The UK recently had a referendum on whether it should remain a member of the European Union. What is the European Union? Well, it's basically a central government for Europe and its 27 states. It controls trading regulations, money with the euro, and various other free travel movements, visas, all that. It controls all that. Now, the UK has always had a fairly interesting relationship with Europe, with Churchill himself saying he wanted a United States of Europe, and the time to do it was back in the Second World War, but we didn't join until the 70s. And again, we were way to and fro about it. Like, we obviously signed up for the free travel of people, but I still had to have a passport and work visas, and we didn't adopt the euro, so we've always had an interesting relationship. Now, with the euro, I'm glad we never got it. Because if you look at the euro during the financial crisis of 2008, it died almost. And Greece, Spain, Ireland are really struggling economies now because of it. So I'm glad we never got the euro, but was leaving the EU the right decision to make? Well, it's obviously way too early to say, but the stock markets indicate that it wasn't. As this chart shows, just before the referendum results were announced, at 10 o'clock when the voting polls shut down, the pound was the highest it had ever been for many years, especially against the dollar. But when the result came in, it plunged to one of its lowest points since 1985, and it almost went below the dollar, which has never happened in history. Never did, but it came very close to it. So, and throughout other markets, just look, stock markets throughout the world dipped ever so slightly because of Brexit. So, it just proves almost how powerful we still are as a nation if we can have this much impact. That is kind of scary at the same time. We don't know what's going to happen. No major European nation has left the EU. And, how long will the EU last now? It's uncertain, really. And what other effects will this have on Europe, the world, us? Well, one other effect it did have was David Cameron resigning, which is, I don't think he should have, personally. I get why he did. The reason he did was because the vote came out to leave, and he was very strongly for Remain. He became effectively the poster boy for the Remain campaign and spearheaded it. So it kind of killed him almost. But when the result came in, it was leave. So he resigned. And in October, he will officially leave office. Why October? Well, we still need a Prime Minister, so for us to get us through all this initial turmoil, so especially have someone. But when it comes to initiating Article 50 of the Lisbon Treaty, then it will be someone else who does it. The running favourite is Boris Johnson. And if you don't know who Boris Johnson is, well, here's a video of him. Here's a picture of him. So it'll be quite interesting to see when Boris takes charge of Britain, what he'll do to the place. He's very interesting. He's very smart. He is smart and a good politician, but again, he's a little bit decisive in country. But overall, he's quite popular, I'd say. But we'll just wait and see what happens. A lot of people saying Cameron's legacy will be that he broke up Europe, because Euroscepticism is on the rise, especially in places like Germany, Poland, Netherlands and Norway, the next two cited to leave the EU, even though Norway's technically not a member of the EU, member of the European Economic Area. But anyway, so Cameron's legacy may also be that he's destroyed the United Kingdom, because Scotland and Northern Ireland both voted overall to remain in the EU. And so it was Wales and England, but effectively he's pulling them out of the European Union. So, will Scotland split? Well, there's talk of a second Scottish independence referendum. Because one of the main reasons why the Scottish referendum came out as to stay in the United Kingdom is because we said if you leave the United Kingdom, you also leave the EU, and you can't join the EU again. Arguably. So, And that's why Scotland voted to stay, and now that we're left, Scotland might leave us and just join the EU and pick up where Britain left off. I don't want Scotland to leave, or Northern Ireland. They're two strong economies and we both need them both. But Northern Ireland's cited as joining Ireland. A united Ireland, which I don't think will ever happen. Well, certainly not anytime soon. Because of the history of the two countries had. It's very checkered, shall we say. So, was leaving the European Union the right decision to make? Time will tell. But the immediate effect, well, quite a few countries in the European Union have already said they will trade with us outside of Europe and create our own trade deals. And America has also said that they'll still continue trading with us. The main reason why I think the vote came out as a leave vote is because of what is often cited as the grey vote. This is the old generation. Now, old people vote more, in terms of more of them turn out to vote, and more of them tend to vote rightly, right-wingedly, if you will. Because, well, they just do. I don't know why. But younger people tend to vote more left. So, old people voted to leave, and young people voted to remain. Now, older people turn out more to vote than younger people. So, but it's even a little bit more controversial because the voting was meant to be opened to 16 and 17-year-olds. As it stands, you can only vote if you're 18 in Britain. But you can register to vote at 16, but you can't actually vote until you're 18. So it's a little bit daft, and in the Scottish independence referendum, the voting was lowered to allow 16-year-olds to vote. But it wasn't for the EU one. So it's a little bit controversial that amongst the UK. I personally believe if voting was lowered to 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds, that it would have came out as Remain. However, it came out to leave, and it was a very close vote. 52% of the nation wanting to leave. So that's only 48% of the nation wanting to remain within the EU. That's still a lot. So they're all calling for a second referendum now. I don't think there should be. I think they should just have one referendum, and we had it. The decision is made. We will leave the European Union. We probably won't leave until 2 years, and we won't begin to leave until October. So, time will tell if this was the best decision to make.